Hi, I'm Raspreet Sagoo and I'm a medical intuitive, a health, life and soul coach, and I'm the founder and owner of Divine Sacred Soul.
Hi Raspreet, how did you discover Theta Healing and how did you get to where you are now?
Well, I was at a point in my life where I'd just given up the security of a full-time job as a pharmacist, and so there was no security of that regular paycheck, and I had opened up my own baby swim franchise, or I was trying to open up my own baby swim franchise, and I was coming up against all sorts of blocks and obstacles, and I was at a point where I was really frustrated. It wasn't moving forward, and I just wanted, like anyone who faces challenges, just a solution and a quick one. And I'd read about Theta Healing. I didn't really know a lot about it, but what I had read was something about they could help with moving blocks in businesses, moving blocks in your career. So I thought I'd give it a go, and I booked myself a session. I went in for the session not really knowing what to expect, and I was never the same again. I found just after one session, things really started to shift for me. The blocks were being released, my business started to move forward, I was able to launch my business, and so I had a few more sessions, Theta Healing sessions, and the more sessions I had, the easier things were becoming. I felt that not only my blocks with the business were being, although I was going in for my business blocks specifically, but not only just my business blocks were being managed, I was finding that my personal relationships were improving. My personal health, I was at the healthiest I'd ever been, and I was at the happiest that I ever remember being. And so I thought I wanted to continue this self-development, personal development, and I booked onto a few courses to be able to do it for self and personal development. And I went in for the courses, and although I've always been highly intuitive and I've always been quite psychic, so I flew through the courses. I went from one to the other and I was doing really, really well. And I started doing sessions for my friends and family, and I was seeing huge shifts in their lives and some amazing shifts in their lives, which then prompted me to open up my own healing business, and that's when I founded Divine Sacred Soul. I knew that I was no longer just supposed to be doing it for personal development, and I was supposed to be sharing my gift with the world.
How does changing a belief create a better life?
It's all to do with the subconscious. And did you know what you think you believe versus what your subconscious believes can be two very different things? So let me explain to you a little bit about the subconscious. The subconscious is the part of you which is responsible for memories and feelings. So let me give you an example to illustrate this. Say there was a little boy who had the experience in the past of always being told to be quiet when he spoke up. So for example, maybe he had an experience where they were sitting at the dinner table, the family sitting at the dinner table, and his parents were having a conversation, and he tried to talk over them as a way to get their attention. And he got told off. Perhaps his dad turned around and told him off, said, "Billy, stop interrupting. That's really rude. Children should be seen and not heard." Words to that effect. And perhaps this happened on a few more occasions. And so what the subconscious does, it creates a belief for Billy. It creates a belief that it's not safe for me to speak up, because every time Billy spoke up, he got told off, he got reprimanded or even punished. So this subconscious creates the belief it's unsafe for me to express myself, it's unsafe for me to speak up. And so this serves Billy and protects him when he's growing up, because it keeps him out of trouble. But as he grows up and he goes out there in the big wide world, maybe there's a job that he really, really wants to go for. He's more than qualified, he's passionate about it, and he really wants this opportunity. But at the interview process, as he's asked questions by the interviewer and he's trying to express himself, his subconscious is saying, no, it's not safe for you to speak up. because every time you do, you get punished, remember? And so Billy's unable to communicate and express why he would be good for this job. And so he gets overlooked for this opportunity. Now, in this example, if we were to release that negative belief that it's unsafe for me to speak up and replace it with the programs of it is safe for me to speak up, I know how to speak and express my truth, express myself, then that interview would have gone a lot more differently and Billy would have got that job. So you can see that changing a belief, it changes the way that you think. And if you're changing the way that you think, you're going to make different decisions in your life. And if you make different decisions, you'll open yourself up to a whole wealth of opportunities that weren't there for you before. And so it can cause a huge positive shift in your life.
What can I expect during a session?
Usually I ask the client the issue that they'd like to work on, an area in their life that they feel they're limited in. And then I would ask their permission to connect to their energy. And I would connect to their energy to pick up any limiting beliefs or dense energies that needed to be released. And I'd find the replacement programs, the positive, more empowering beliefs, and replace those for the negative beliefs the person was holding on to. We use a method of kinesiology called muscle testing to check the subconscious beliefs. And I would always ask for permission for any healing that's done or anything that's released or downloaded.
Do you need to be spiritual or religious for it to work?
Quite simply, no. Theta Healing is not a religion. It's not affiliated with any religions. It's all inclusive. So people from all sorts of faiths and backgrounds are more than welcome. And it works just as effectively, whatever your beliefs or your background or your faith. Theta Healing is more about spirituality and a way of life. There is a requirement by the client to have a belief in a higher power because we connect to the energy of all that is. And so the client does need to believe in some sort of higher power, whatever that may be, whatever that you may call that higher power. Some people call it universal intelligence, some people call it source energy, some people call it God, Allah, Vaheguru, whatever it is that you're comfortable with, as long as there's a belief in a higher power. I personally, during my sessions, use the word creator because it seems to be a neutral term that everybody is okay with, but I'm more than happy to use whatever you believe in.
How many sessions are needed?
That all very much depends on the client and the nature of the problem. A lot can be covered in a short space of time, and I've seen some huge shifts with my clients with just one session with me. For some things, there are quite complex belief systems, and so they require deeper belief work, and that can take several sessions. And I find that tends to happen with people with long-term problems, or long-term health problems, or abuse issues, things like that. They generally tend to take a bit longer. It all very much depends on the nature of the problem, and also it depends on the client and how receptive the client is. Sometimes during a session, and quite often during a session actually, I will get guidance to give the client that they can go away, things that they can work on outside of the session. And those clients that take that advice and actually use it in their everyday life, they shift a lot quicker than those that don't. As with anything, it's whatever you put in is what you're going to get out.
What sort of areas in life can you help with?
So I work with a range of issues. I work with blocks in your career, in your businesses, money blocks, abundance blocks. I work a lot with people who are grieving the loss of a loved one. I work with people with health issues. That's one of my specialties, obviously being from a pharmacy background. I help people with building self-esteem, self-confidence, and also there are people that come to me who wish to grow spiritually and develop spiritually, and I help them as well.
So what makes you an expert in your field?
Well, as I said to you before, I am a pharmacist by profession, so I've had over 15 years of experience in this field. So I have a very comprehensive understanding of the physical anatomy and also of conventional medication. I've always been spiritual, I've always been intuitive, and I also now have the qualifications in the spirituality. So all of this combined, I use my science background, my spiritual knowledge, and my business experience, and I kind of roll them all into one, into my therapy. I was born to do this, and my academic education, my life experiences, and my qualifications in the spiritual field all contribute to my unique expertise in this field.